Thank you. Good morning. It's my honor and privilege. I have lots of familiar faces. I can't see Dr. Sahay. Dr. Sahay, are you here? Dr. Sahay, are you here? I think he'll join. And Annurag, you may want to get him in. And let me start by asking all of you, by asking you how have been the last 180 plus days for you for your B school's operations, and what's your outlook for the next 2 years? Because I'm sure we are thinking a little ahead. We're not thinking short term. I know COVID has showed us that the best laid plans can go for a toss. But let me start by asking all of you for your introductory comments on the topic. Let me start with Dr. Metri. Dr. Metri has just joined as the director of IIM Nagpur. He was the director of IIM Trichinopalli, and on 6th October, if I'm right, he joined as the director of IIM Nagpur. Dr. Metri, your opening comments, and then we go around the house.
Thank you, Dr. Annurag. Thank you very much. So, the topic, landscaping the management education beyond frontiers, how to be industry ready. I was listening very carefully my great friend Shiv Kumar ji, and also the great questions asked by Dr. Annurag. I think one thing is extremely important when we talk about industry and academia. Industry ready or corporate ready, I think many times, we should also keep in mind that the moment kid is born, you cannot take the kid for productive work. So it will take its time. And, many times industry people say that I need a corporate ready or industry ready. So that what is the period for readiness? There is a minimum period for readiness that one has to keep in mind. Of course, in this digital world, disruptive world, of course, COVID is one of the disruption. The business schools' three main objectives: knowledge, attitude, and skills. But knowledge is now freely available through Google. Now that has taken a back seat. It is already available. Now these schools need not to focus on much on that. But two key differentiators are going to be the competency, that is a skill, and second one is the being, that is the attitude building. So these are the two things important, and out of that, skill-based education or competency-based education is going to be the norm for 21st century. And for competency-based education or skill-based education, we have to focus on 4-5 things. Some of the, globally, some of the business schools are coming out. Few areas. One important area I can share here is a phenomenon-based learning. It is called PhenoBell. So PhenoBell is basically any service, any area once you take up, and that will become a project. And faculty, for example, mergers and acquisition. Let us take one subject. Then people from HR, people from business law, people from strategy, all the different functional areas coming together as a co-teachers are teaching the course, and also some opportunity comes. For example, in any service, if you take, a student should be working on that as a knowledge builder. So here co-teaching and basically a practically implementation of some of the aspects they can do. So this is going to basically build the competency and build the skill. And this phenomena, the Finland is the one company, they are going to implement phenomenal based learning or PhenoBell. Apart from that, the project-based learning, because if you want to build the competency, we have to focus on project-based learning. Students will be learning by doing and under the mentorship of industry guide as well as professors. Then in this digital world, to take the full advantage, one need to focus on simulations and scenario-based learning. So simulation games, online, again, the greatest advantage, students can actually live with and engage and involved, not only enhancing the attention span, but they learn a lot because of their involvement and engagement. The third and most important, I think Dr. Annurag as well as Shiv Kumar ji focused was entrepreneurship in education. So entrepreneurship, the moment we think preliminary meaning, we take starting a company. but it is not that one definition. There is another important definition for entrepreneurship in education is all about deep learning, making students more creative, opportunity oriented, proactive, and innovative. So that entrepreneurship is extremely important. They may start their own company or they may work for the company, but they have to be a creative mindset, basically ability to create a value, willingness to create a value. That will come out of the entrepreneurship, and that course has to be focused basically to build the competency. And
Thank
apart from that, another two important things: interdisciplinary curriculum, because co-teaching, team teaching, and a good mix of professionally qualified faculty and academically qualified faculty. This balance is extremely important. PQ, AQ. Professionally qualified faculty, as Sri Kumar ji said, 30% of the faculty members should be teaching the practitioner-oriented courses. And some of the courses academicians do well, and practitioners maybe a course on advertisement, course on banking, course on some of the strategy courses or consumer behavior courses, sales and marketing courses. These courses are taught by the professional qualified faculty. Students can learn from horse's mouth. These are all important. And one more thing, and last thing is T-learning. I think specialization is one thing. T-learning in the sense, the vertical part of the T talks about the specialization. Every student has to specialize one area, but they have to also learn many subjects, many areas. That is a vertical bar, of the horizontal bar of the T, that is learning other areas, but one area specialized and many areas they will be knowing. And that is what new national education policy talked about, multidisciplinary approach. A best example in business school, multidisciplinary approach is Singapore Management University. There is a school of accounting and finance. There is a school of humanities and social sciences. There is a school of decision science, a school of marketing. So these are all going to be one specialized in many areas. So that e-learning, and these are all the few of the approach which we use. Probably we can reduce the corporate ready, but there will be some period to be ready, but we can bring down tremendously 50-60%. A students, the moment they graduate, within no time they will be ready for what industry wants, or we can equip our students the way industry wants. We can align, so that is possible. These are few of the initial thoughts, and rest I will take up later on. Thank you, Annurag.
And I will go back to my student days. You cannot take MDI out of me. And I know three of us, Dr. Metri, Dr. BSI, and Dr. Atmanand, have deep ties to MDI. But I remember the marketing course was taught to us by Dr. S.R. Singhvi. But the sales and distribution management course was taught in those days, in '95, by Mr. Udyan Dravid, who was then the head of sales and marketing at Apollo Tires. And again, the services marketing course was taught by another practitioner called Mr. Vinod Gupta, who was at Xerox, and he would teach us services marketing. So a lot of business schools, I'm sure, are practicing bringing more industry to the campus. But industry people are good at certain things, as you rightly said. Professors are good at some things, so you can't replace each other. Both have a value. And there I say, the industry interaction and industry participation in courses has to be a top-up. It can't be the main stake. It has to be a top-up. Let me bring in Dr. Sahay. Dr. Sahay, you were the director of MDI, then you built another IIM, and now you are building a very young IIM in IIM Jammu. Tell us, how do we make all these schools industry ready and really integrated with the industry? Dr. Sahay, you'll have to unmute yourself, Dr. Sahay.
Yes, yeah. Thank you, Annurag. It's really pleasure again interacting with you and all my colleagues here. Like say for last 16 years, I'm doing the same thing. But life has really changed after pandemic. I must tell you that. Life has really changed. What pandemic has taught us in last 8 months, well, we didn't learn that in last 30 years or maybe 38 years. Unprecedented environment, unprecedented situation. And this classical thing is not really going to work. These are gone. That faculty member comes with transparencies, put there and show it and then discuss and in the class. Right now, the problem is that, like say, what is happening is that there is a digital divide. Let me tell you right now what is happening. I am located in Jammu, where this 2G network is there. Of course, in office we have this 4G and everything is there. But think of that, the students are spread all over the country, and like say top schools, whether it is IMs or MDI or any such schools, the students are coming from far-flung places. Poorest of the poor can take admission in these institutions. The beauty of IIM is, again, I take pride in saying this thing, that poorest of the poor can come. They are staying in far-flung places. There is no connectivity. And, like say, I did a practice that, like quite constantly interacting with the students, that what is happening, interacting with the faculty members. So there is a digital divide which country must bridge. Just talking is not going to help us. We must bridge that thing. And that is possible only when this government, institutions, individuals, everybody come together and see it as a challenge, an opportunity. I consider pandemic as an opportunity, COVID as an opportunity. Now, like say, my previous speaker, Metri, was talking about, like different pedagogy. And you cited example of MDI. In MDI, the online thing exam, because Atmanand is here, and he knows that 20 years back we started online teaching. We started 20 years back online quiz. Everything we tried to do this thing, but that time acceptability of online was very, very minimal as compared to what's happening today. Because today there is no choice. So when there is no choice, there is a compulsion. You have to do it. So I feel that this is an opportunity. What India has learned in last 8 months, probably we may not have been able to achieve in last maybe 30 years or 40 years like that. You talk of anybody, everybody is not tech savvy. Now coming back to this thing, that first thing I would like to say, there is no replacement of face-to-face teaching. It's a foregone conclusion. We may talk a lot of things, technology, everything. Recently, before joining you, I was late for 5 minutes because there was a different platform, and I'm not very conversant with that. So I called my daughter that, okay, let's try to connect it, and she fixed it. Fine. What I'm trying to say is that teaching pedagogy has to go a major change. There is no denying a fact that theory has to be very strong. Most of the business schools are talking about case studies, but we feel that I personally feel that field study is very much important now. Now in this situation, how to do that thing? You're trying to do this thing, like say, I think that this phenomena is going to continue for another 6 months or so, not more than that, or maybe more. But I feel that after 6 months, things will be normal, everything will be normal. Think of a situation that the students were not able to do summer internship. They did summer internship sitting in their home. They were not able to join the company, join from their home. Now some of the companies, some of the institutions are allowing. Government has given directives that, okay, now institutions can open, but parents are not ready to send their children. My daughter is studying in Velam, and this survey was done. And it was surprising that while government has given permission that by 15th of October you can join, parents are having a lot of reservations. Now, having all these constraints, within this constraint, how to teach, how to make the student industry ready, that's really important. So what I feel is that, when face-to-face we are teaching, case teaching pedagogy has been used. A lot of discussion has gone, but if this impact or effectiveness is not that significant. There is a lot of because students are sitting in front of the laptop for almost 10 hours, 12 hours, or maybe 14 hours, because after attending classes, they have to do these projects, assignments. Like say, simulation is one thing, probably can be done, but there are people who do simulation face-to-face also. The MOOCs is a very great thing, because many schools, because we should not be just talking about IIMs and MDIs. We should be talking about business schools across the country, and more
Yeah.
than 3,500 business schools are there. What is happening there? So I think is that this teaching pedagogy has to go a radical change. No, like say, I was just trying to this see this thing, that what are the courses which are required to be taught, because see, when we say industry ready, so one thing we have understood that okay, tech savvy is very much important. Everybody is tech savvy now, so that's really very much important. Now, what are the courses which should be taught? Like say, many business schools have started teaching this some of the courses, and those courses are like say cloud computing, because business have seen consistent development in the demand for proficient in industry recognized cloud computing courses.
Dr. Sahay, you finished. You covered the screen with a sheet of paper.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, fine. So second is that risk management, that how much a student can take risk.
Absolutely. And about the environment. Risk management is also about.
Yeah,
COVID
yeah.
is not risk management.
Third is I would like to say that, let's say, because people are playing with a lot of data, so it's a data analytics. Fourth is that I feel is that business analytics, because let's say this like marketing now, even this everybody is talking of digital marketing. Everything is done marketing. If you see the ads coming in the newspaper, that has reduced drastically. And then there are some other courses like machine learning, artificial intelligence. So these are the courses probably industry would like to bridge the skill gap, because once they go back to office and once they find that okay, things have really changed. So how to make this thing effective? Because let's say it's very nice that industry, because we have experts in industry, we have practitioners, and we should be taking full advantage of that. And some of the schools are doing in a traditional way that okay, 20% of the classes should be taken by the industry expert. But now time has come when probably even course curricula or course outline can be developed jointly with the industry. And rightly said by the previous speaker that their expertise should be encased. They are expert in a particular domain. Like see, if I'm talking of banking management, the person from banking can probably do full justice, better justice with that course than any other thing. So,
thank you, Dr.
what is important? Yeah. So I think these are things only we have to say. Yeah.
So that then we can do a discussion. So
Okay, fine.
Yeah, thank you. But I agree with most of you what you said. I just want to say that we would earlier say that a B school has a locational advantage. I think that has gone away. And even from an industry interface, it doesn't matter where you are. You can get anybody from anywhere. So I think the industry interface for these schools that were not necessarily in locations that were very close to centers of business has opened up. And, that's a big advantage. It doesn't matter where you are today. And there I say, if you look at SPJIMR, under Ranjan management, they've done a lot of industry interaction. They've brought in a lot of practitioners to teach. Big Five Business School in terms of case studies have done great work traditionally. So let me bring in Dr. Bharat Bhasker. I know Dr. Sahay before you joined. I am Jammu, you were, and I am Raipur, and I was lucky enough to visit Raipur while you were there. So Dr. Bharat Bhasker, how can we make sure that industry readiness of these school graduates and these schools goes up? Because these schools are not just about management education for students, they're also like the L&D center for the industry.
All right. Thank you, Annurag. Picking up from my predecessors, they have already talked about Dr. Metri and Dr. Sahay, covered a whole bit of things. I thought I'll focus further on it or build further on it by saying that if you look at the management education from the 1940s and 50s, we have been teaching them variety of the management tools. Starting from downsizing, as the outsourcing came in, we began to teach them outsourcing, re-engineering, supply chain management, right? And many of such things. And as Dr. Metri said, that we need to add simulation, etc., more things. All these things are the powerful management tools. So we are preparing our students with the powerful management tools, which makes them ready for how to do things. But one fundamental change which has happened in industry, the industry itself, the ground realities are changing. The realities which used to evolve and change slowly, meaning that if you look at the internal combustion engine, it changed the reality of a transportation almost in 80 years. Electricity took about 40 years to bring us from dark ages to the well-lit age, right? But then when the computers came in, it took almost 20 years, but the internet, another 10 years, and these days, OYOs and you name the current internet applications, in less than 2 years, they are changing the ground reality. That means we need to prepare our students to be industry ready in what to do, not how to do only. How to do is important, but they have to be ready because the reality is going to change and transform itself in a quicker time. By the time they graduate, they will be facing a newer kind of a reality. And that is why it's important for them to be what we used to call continuous learning, ready to learn all the time, etc. and so on. I would call it a what to do readiness. How is reality changing? I would like to just point out, because that's a profound change which we are facing and moving from the era of 500-year-old modernity to a new era of an alternate reality. Today, do we know what is the reality, what the real human beings and where the real customers are? Can they be manipulated? Right? These are the fundamental things. If you look at the reality, there's an alternate reality, there's an augmented reality, there's a virtual reality, mixed reality, cross reality, and so on. Fundamentally, you look at when the internet arrived, we had two lives. We had a real life which was isolated, and we knew as per the thoughts of modernity we were governed, and then there was an internet life, and we separated those two lives. But if you look at today's reality, that internet life and the real life have merged. And when these two lives have merged together, there's a fundamental challenge. The fundamental challenge is that who are we marketing to? The second life, which first introduced us to this alternate reality, was a game where islands were bought, advertisers were advertising, and the millions of dollars were made in form of Linden dollars. That was about 20 years ago. People got avatars there. Avatar gave you opportunity what you wanted to be in where nobody knew you. In the real life, we had a social norm and it blurred the boundary, but we lived two lives and made our money, our business was beginning to happen. Today, those boundaries gone. There are multiple social media platforms where we have a lives of multiple reality. The reality is nothing but the internet reality and the real life reality not only has merged, but it has given rise to multiple realities. For same person exhibits different personas on different platforms. Now, this has given opportunity to social media companies. And that's where the business is happening and the whole marketplace is getting altered. And we need to prepare our students for that. How it's altering? If you look at the Google and Facebook only and many other social media giants, they're collecting our consumer behavior. Whatever we do on the net live, it's all in form of bits. So our behavior is being transcribed and coded in form of bits, which is becoming data, and this data out of that extraction the information happens. Of course, that part we all know, and we have begun to teach in our digital marketing and variety of courses that extract that information, you know the real human behavior rather than a survey and perceived human behavior, and make use of matching your product to that human behavior. And marketing in the modern form has been that understand the human behavior, design the product to that human behavior or human character, and match the product, and you'll be selling well. But then it has given newer dimension to our whole life, because that behavior is bits, data extracted into information, and those can be manipulated. So rather than learning from the information, now information can be manipulated and fed back to us. And that is what exactly is happening. If you look at all the reality around us, we are now, the behavioral loop is closed. The social media companies are capable today, and when I say social media, I don't mean Google and Facebook and TV media and variety of other digitized media companies, are capable of creating new realities, learning from our behavioral information, modifying that information, and feeding it back into and manipulating our behavior. So now there's a newer phase of marketing or all other areas to be born, where we can alter the behavior of people by understanding their behavior. That means I have a design product. Let me alter your behavior, match it to your behavior, and then sell it to you. So we are in a new kind of a loop. Now this is next 5 years I'm talking about. And the future will change again, which I don't know and you don't know and nobody knows. Or maybe people can perceive of it, but they are really clairvoyant people. But fundamental thing is, how do we prepare management graduates of today who will be able to cope with it? So yes, all those powerful tools my predecessor talked about, we need to incorporate in our education, but prepare their mind for this new business philosophy, where they understand the philosophy of what to do, how to perceive the reality, and match the reality as reality keeps evolving. Because reality evolution is not going to give us time of 15 years, 20 years. It'll be in years and 2 years and so on. Thank you very much. I would like to say only this much at this stage and come back
Thank
to
you,
when.
Bharat. You're very philosophical in your address, and I can only say that you alluded to two things. One is the importance of data sciences. As an entrepreneur, as a media entrepreneur, data has become very important. Second is design thinking. I think we have to inculcate design thinking in the curricula in these schools. These are my two takeaways from what you alluded to. Let me bring in Dr. Renuka Kamath here. Dr. Kamath, the institute that you represent, there is a perception that it's very industry friendly. It may be the truth also, but it is definitely there is a perception that it is more industry friendly. Whether it's getting Mr. Gopal Krishnan to teach and partner on writing case studies, or getting Shiv Kumar to come and teach a course in strategy in action. You have really, whenever there are conversations these days about these schools, two schools definitely come up in the conversation. One is your institution, which is the SPJIMR Institute of Management Research, and the other is IIM Udaipur. These two institutes do come up in conversations, and primarily because their industry kind of interface is better than others. At least they, that's how it's being seen. And so tell us, there is nobody better than you to be able to tell us from here on, how do you improve it? Because everyone will try to copy you. How do you stay ahead of the game?
Right. Thank you so much, Dr. Batra, for having me here. And I'm happy to share a lot of things about SPJIMR. You're right. We've had and we will continue to have a lot of industry connect. So while it is not just about getting senior people from the industry or practitioners to teach in our classrooms, you might even be aware that many of our faculty are all ex-industry practitioners, including me. I joined SPJIMR 15 years back after a 15 years experience in the corporate sector. And I have almost about 80% of my colleagues of similar, background. So that automatically, including Ranjan, that's absolutely right. So that automatically gets us more, practice-oriented. Industry interface is extremely high. And I did hear you say that, locational advantage that we had. Yes, we do have a locational advantage, and I believe it will continue being there. That I would agree to an extent, has kind of equalized across business schools because COVID has accelerated a lot of plans that many schools had for the future, and most of us have gone online, and we can get the best speakers and best practitioners. But I would also caution one more thing. With the online world comes a lot of other issues. There is, and I'm sure my colleagues here would agree with me, there is a huge fatigue that is now creeping in all our students, in all the faculty who are teaching, because the screen time has increased. So while online is definitely the way to go, offline and campus experience has its place, and I don't think that will go away. Coming to your question, really is, We are looking at how to be industry ready. I think we have done about 3 years back. We did an outside in strategy meet at our institution where all the faculty got in together. We asked the industry what they would like and what is it that the schools can give them better. And as a result, we came out with some courses, and one of two, three key courses that came out, and one of them which is we are very proud of is liberal arts. We were one of the first business schools to actually introduce liberal arts in our management and liberal arts in our curriculum in the 2-year program, and that has slowly started giving us yield. But Dr. Batra, one of the things that I would, as a instructor, as a faculty, and also as an administrator in a B school, I think one of the key things we have to give to our students going ahead is the entire concept of lifelong learning. And how does one keep ahead of the game? Because whatever all said and done, we can only anticipate how the industry is going to change today. We can only think of what might happen. We really may not know. COVID is a case in point. So, I'm going to go back to theory here, and I'm going to go back to Thaler's mental accounting principles, where he talks about all of us having mental budgets for things. And, whether it's shopping, whether it's education, whether it's health, all families, as individuals, we all have mental budgets. But, do we have an annual budget? Do we have a budget for our own learning? And if we can inculcate, and that is what we are trying to do at SPJIMR, we are trying to inculcate students to get into the habit of having a sort of an annual budget for their own learning. In fact, we are also questioning this whole thing, how many faculty have an annual budget for their own learning? And we are not talking about the research grants, not about that. It's about self development, trying to learn in new areas. So that's one. And with the second one, I learned the second one really is how do we keep ourselves open to reverse mentoring? Professor Sahay and others talked about technology and how technology is the way forward, and there's a digital divide that is there. Frankly, the millennials are far ahead of the game. I don't think they struggle with technology at all. Frankly, I also think many faculty have not struggled. Many of us have adapted pretty fast. We've been slower than our students, definitely maybe, but I think we have done a fabulous job, I think, across these schools of adapting to it. However, can we have the sole concept of reverse mentoring? Learn from our students, why not? And that's what, a budget for our getting students to learn, to keep a budget for learning. And, faculty, on the other hand, being open to reverse mentoring. I think that's the way forward that we would say at SPJIMR.
Thank you, Dr. Kamath. I fully agree with you. In fact, I've been talking about reverse mentoring for the last 10 years. And I have a young mentor. He's now 27. I met him when he was 19. He now studies in Singapore at the Nanyang University. But I met him when he was 9 and 19, or maybe 18, I'm not sure. And, I do discuss a lot of things with him. So I agree that reverse mentoring works. I agree that there has to be a annual budget for learning. And what you're alluding to is, what I said upfront, is that these schools are centers of management education, not just for students, but for corporate executives. So hence, to be able to teach corporate executives, you have to understand what's happening with them. What do they need? What does the industry need? So you need to come up. Maybe we need to build something which is a cross of a B school and a singularity university, dare I say. Let me bring in Debapratim Purkayastha in. Mr. Purkayastha, you heard everyone. IBS has been, for the last many years, in case studies, doing pioneering work and using the case studies to build industry connects. Tell us, how can we be more industry ready? You have to unmute yourself. Unmute is the second most popular word of 2020.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Annurag. And this is a wonderful opportunity, and talking to and hearing to so many key insights from so many people here. So what I would also like to say here is that this year has been so unusual, and also it has accelerated trends that were already underway on the digital front. So we have seen how industry has reacted, how the online environment is becoming so important even in the workplaces, and also how we as teachers have jumped into the bandwagon. And it is not just jumping in. We were testing the waters before from the sidelines most of the time, most of us, even me, and we have been pushed headlong into the waters of online teaching, and we have to swim out. So this is the situation we are in, and it's not very it's enjoyable also to some extent, because so many new things are there, and it's not going to be business as usual anytime soon. So some of the components that we are running we are doing will stay with us. And at ICFI Business School, we are taking this as an opportunity to accelerate adoption of approaches in management education which are long overdue, like how we can bring about a more multidisciplinary focus as opposed to narrow focus on specializations. How are we going to prioritize practice over theory? How we are going to prioritize applied research and teaching excellence? So these are certain things which are core to what we are doing in this situation. And we are also adopting more active learning strategies and entrenching case method of teaching deeper into our curriculum and our institution. So the idea is to provide more engaging, holistic, and impactful learning. Because in the COVID times also, what we are seeing is that a lot of online classes, but you have to make them engaging, and for that lectures and other things may not be as useful. So you have to have this active learning strategies. I understand that this case method of teaching is always it is one of the favorite flogging childs for management educators and leaders also, because it is so visible and so enduring, and it has been there for such a long time. So the best thing to say is that we are doing something better, means we are doing something better than adopting the case method. So we at ICFI are banking on our strengths in this area to bring, we have more than 6,500 case studies, and many of them are contemporary case studies. There are other case studies which are on critical themes like, corruption, sustainability, well-being, public health, inequality. Now, these are problems that management educators are being increasingly expected to tackle, and we have not been doing it as much till now. But these are opportunities which you can explore now, and you can bring it into the classrooms and explore these issues threadbare. And we are making these cases available to all over the world. So more than 10,000, 1,000 institutes, the very top institutes in the world, are using our case studies, and unfortunately less than 5% of them are Indian institutions. So you have some 200 ACSB accredited business schools using our cases, whereas in India you have only the IIMs and SPJIMR and some of those ISBs who are using it. So next, what we are also doing is that we are leveraging rich media. That is, some of us here have been talking about how case studies, maybe the text heavy ones may not be very suitable, but we can always look at it as putting it in asynchronous mode. So if not always on the live mode, you can have live discussions for less time, but you can put the cases, the longer cases, in the asynchronous mode and drive discussion there, even with teams, probably with different kind of teachers, like from finance stream, from marketing stream, and other streams coming together to teach the cases. And also we have this, we are having new formats like graphic novel formats, like cases in the comic book formats, video formats, which are so exciting. And these are the need of the hour, I think, in this online mode, because you can bank on the rich media now, because you are teaching online, and the online medium is heavily geared towards storytelling. And we are also doing it in a multidisciplinary way, in the sense that we are not only looking at finance, marketing, and all, we are also looking at how we can bring in the engineering perspectives, perspectives from law and other areas, because technology is so ubiquitous in these times. Also, when we are looking at cases, we are also looking at other experiential things like our student clubs. I am continuously amazed by how these students are running these student clubs in the online mode now. So that is very much there, and the development of vital skills are there, like preparing them for the gig economy, which is going to be more ubiquitous now. So there will be
And
more gigs now, and
uh, yeah,
yeah,
uh,
and
yeah,
and also
I want to also do a discussion after
yeah,
Dr. Advan has made his comments. Yes.
sure.
Go ahead, close it. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah. So we are preparing our students for the post-pandemic world, not only in terms of the curriculum that many of you are talking about, but also in areas like online, how to prepare online for selections, how to prepare online for the for interviews, online interviews, and work from home environment, how to adapt to the work from home environment that they are going to be there. So uh, probably I can come back again once we have this discussion.
I would call it work from anywhere. It's
Yeah,
not necessarily from home. Work from anywhere. I think that's the kind. On a jocular note, if pre-COVID, any of my colleagues asked me if we can work from home, I would say yes. On Saturday, Sunday, you can work from home, but that's on a jocular way. So please don't take that too seriously. But Dr. Atmanand, MDI Murshidabad is a relatively younger institute. It also is a, whenever you have a second campus, a second offshoot of a school, I would say I would take the ISB example. ISB is set up in Hyderabad, then in Mohali. But when you talk to an ISB graduate, I don't think you can make out that the graduate is from Hyderabad or Mohali. My question to you: how do you ensure that a graduate that comes out of Murshidabad, MDI Murshidabad, and a graduate that comes out from MDI Gurgaon have the same kind of, acceptance in the industry? Of course, your overall comments on how to improve industry linkages and industry preparedness.
Very much, very warm welcome and good morning to all my esteemed speakers and old colleagues. And thank you very much, Annurag, for giving me this wonderful opportunity to share my viewpoints with my esteemed speakers and the directors from esteemed great business learnings of the country. Thank you very much. And I'm really delighted to see my old colleagues, Professor Sahay, Professor Metri, and also my colleague, Professor Bhasker. I met several times with Dr. Renuka on online discussion. In fact, in the past, I met Dr. Debapratim also in one of the webinars of series. So it's a great and give us a great feeling to share our viewpoints and think about a very important topic which we are discussing today. Anurag, in fact, I don't have any package solutions to offer for this important topic. I want to raise questions for my esteemed speakers. As you know that the educational landscape has changed and the management institutions need to survive and excel. So what do we think will be the best approach for survival in this paradigm shift? Question number one. Question number two, that how can the challenges and opportunities be dealt with in the current environment, especially for Indian B schools? Question number three, how can the skill set gap, which all of us are now talking about, skill set gap between workforce and industry requirement be plugged? Question number four, many studies have predicted about the creation of millions of jobs in new specialized areas with a different set of skills. What would be the role of Indian B schools to prepare for future generations to thrive in a changing landscape? Question number five, to what extent online education can positively impact learning environment in the campus? And the question number six, for B schools, the challenge is not just understanding the changing digital world. We are talking about digital divide, digital world, but how best to help students, staff, businesses, and other stakeholders make the most of the changes and opportunities that arise around us. So, how do they deliver management education for tomorrow's digital world? Question number seven, Anurag ji, in fact, which is like this, that which is very important for this topic. What role does a business school play towards job skill focused education? Question number 8, how B schools can leverage blended learning? And I think all these questions together, if you combine it together, and then I would like to give my recommendations to you to this platform is this: number 1, that is, the time has come that institutions need to innovate, need to focus, redesign, and realign with the new normal that is called pandemic. Number 2, that the time has come that we should also try to think about as to how to bring change in the course curriculum and make it more industry friendly. Recommendation number 3, that it is also very important for all of us. How can we connect, nurture, and grow in an environment of remote or online learning, etc. Recommendation number 3, that we must emphasize about the future role of the blended learning, that is called hybrid mode of learning, synchronous learning, as a culture, education culture, which is going to be developed by all the B schools. But then we need to develop a best pedagogy method for delivery of the courses, so that the students can collaborate, integrate, and discuss about various important issues prevailing in the industry, prevailing in the economy, prevailing in the businesses, etc. So that approach should lead to how to connect with the businesses, so that business can realign themselves with the B schools and the students. And therefore, here I would like to recommend for job skilled courses, which is called entrepreneurial type of education. We should think about it, which can create more jobs than creating more job creators. And also, I would like to say here that not only about technology, yes, technology is a very important tool in our hands, and we develop this technology, I agree with Professor Sahay, in MDI Gurgaon. And I have seen personally that how we have grown with technology in MDI Gurgaon. And therefore, technology today has become a very important tool for us to connect with the world outside, to connect with the students, and to nurture them, and also to provide them an opportunity for networking. And I call it CNNG: connect, network, nurture, and grow. Before COVID, I used to say CNG: connect, nurture, and grow. So therefore, my philosophy, and therefore when I'm talking about MDI or MDI Murshidabad, the second campus, is that we should be surrounded by those people who are thinkers and doers in one person. Thinkers and doers in one person. They should not come with a problem. They should come with a solution. They should become a problem-solving mind, a creative thinker, a design thinker, problem solver. This is the role that the B School has to fulfill in an environment of COVID-19 to make our students more industry friendly. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Atmanand. I also want to tell our viewers, we have about 600 viewers, that Dr. Atmanand was also the director of MDI and MDI Murshidabad for a period of time. So he has also led both the institutions. Your comments are very similar to what Shiv made in his opening remarks. And we're already 6 minutes ahead of time. So I want a closing comment from all of you. And I want a very short one. And my question to all of you is, if you would do one thing in your institute over the next 12 months that would make it industry ready, what would that be? Let me start with Dr. Renuka Kamath. Dr. Kamath, if there's one thing you do over the next 12 months that would make your institute more industry connected.
I think the one thing that we would like to do, and we have already started on the path, is to make quality education affordable to more and more people. So we are in a very strong way going on online teaching to ensure that we have a lot more programs to reach out, because I think the digital divide should not come in the way of good quality education. That's what we would.
Thank you so much. By the way, Dr. Kamath, a lot of there's a Chinese university which has just suddenly come into the top 10 ranking. It's not sudden. Chinese worked much in advance. I mean, China started working in 65 to be able to be where it is today. And one of the reasons they did that is they've got a lot of billionaires to give them endowment money. For example, the founder of a large VC firm has given them $400 million. So for students, the courses are free. because the money is coming from endowments. So
Right.
possibly you look at a model like that, and possibly you're looking at a model like that. Mr.
We
Purkayastha.
are just, if I
Yeah.
could just kind of add to that, we are part of the Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, and there is a very strong philosophy we have of value-based growth. All our programs, while we want to price them accordingly, according to the market and all that, we are also very conscious of ensuring the education reaches as many people. So it's in line with our vision.
You have to have that balance.
Yeah.
You have to have that balance. Mr. Purkayastha, what is that one thing that ICFI Business School will do over the next 12 months that will make it more industry ready?
See, Anurag, we are not only looking at how we can make our students industry ready, but also future ready. Because if you see, industries itself are being disrupted. So don't know the nature of the industry one will take. So one thing that we are doing is we are entrenching case method more deeply into our institutions, and for two reasons. One is that you can bring all the things that are happening immediately into the class. That is one thing. So very contemporary. Next thing is the critical issues I told earlier can be brought into the class, and how we can solve those and make our students more aware about the issues and ethical also. So in that way, two things: how they can thrive in the new environment and also be well-rounded leaders tackling the critical problems of the world today.
Thank you so much. Dr. Atmanand, one thing you'll do at MDI Murshidabad to make it industry ready.
Yeah, looking at the locational, you can say advantage and disadvantage both, and opportunity both of Murshidabad in West Bengal of MDI. I would like, in fact, I have already initiated and it's going on well, and that is about the introduction of the job skill courses like entrepreneurship as a course, like the courses which can generate new skill sets like data science, like artificial intelligence and machine learning, like business analytics, like digitalization of the marketing and the sales force, etc. So therefore, this is priority number one. Priority number two would be on spend a sizable proportion of the budget of the finance on creation of robust IT infrastructure, so that the computer-enabled learning environment can be strengthened further and further, so that blended learning can progress well without any disruptions in future.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dr. Sahay, what would be one thing you do at IIM Jammu that will help it take a leap with service industry? You'll have to unmute yourself, Dr. Sahay.
You rightly said that on unmute and mute, that like say one thing which is in my opinion is most important is that entrepreneurial skill. All the time we are talking of industry ready. Why don't we talk of that they should be an entrepreneur? They should start their own venture. We know very well that okay, it's a difficult time. Getting job is not that easy. So that entrepreneurial mindset is very much important. That whatever things are coming on the way, they must take it up. So one is that. Second is that soft skill. Besides, I've already
Soft
talked
skills,
about technology.
that's something that's very important. All of you alluded to how grooming, finishing, communication is so important. Dr. Metri, one thing you'll do at IIM Nagpur, which will make it more industry ready over the next 12 months.
So thank you, Annurag. I think all of you know that IIM Nagpur is located. Nagpur is a central point of India, and IIM Nagpur is located in a multi-product special economic zone. And within 3 months, we are going to move the new campus partially, and this is surrounded by 80 and odd companies. As you have rightly said, location. So it is equidistant from any point of India, whether Delhi, Chennai, Calcutta, Mumbai. So that advantage we are going to take. And second one is we are surrounded by diverse companies, 80 and odd companies, and students should learn from horses' mouth, and you should be known by your company, as Professor Atmanand rightly said, new generation skills and ample amount of opportunity our students will get to learn from industries located in and around, because we are located in the heart of industry, and they will project these courses we will introduce, so that competency and skill part can be enhanced out of the objectives of MBA education. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Metri. I learned a new word, learning, phenomena-based learning, and essentially to me it means catching on with the trend and keeping pace with them. That's how it came across to me. Final word, Dr. Bharat Bhasker. What would you do at IIM Raipur to make it more industry ready?
All right. Our firm belief is the future is digital economy, and digital superstructure is going to envelop all the analog structures of today. And consequently, we are preparing our student to be digital transformation ready, prepared for the new emerging digital economy and for those new kind of jobs, for creating them as well as working in them. The second part we are doing is making the industry managers ready with the digital transformation. So also going out to the industry and increasing our footprint through the newfound online education mechanism. So our focus is on digital,
Thank you so
digital
much.
and digital.
My gratitude to all of you
Thank
for
you.
your time, for your contributions. And when you build a B school, you build the careers of lots of individuals, you help families, and most importantly, you help the nation. Thank you so much for being the leaders that you are, and we wish you luck in your endeavor of building your institutions and being future ready. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Back to you, Mr.
Have a great
Anand.
day, everyone.